Hello everybody, my name is Marianus, and on behalf of the Middle-earth mod team, I'm here today to present to you a guide to Middle-earth mod smithing, as of update alpha 1.5.3. There will be some changes to smithing in future updates, as far as I'm aware, but this should be the basic formula for everything you might need. Let's get started. The first item that you will be needing is a forge. To craft a forge, you'll need 4 brick blocks arranged in this order, 3 cobblestone blocks at the bottom, and a furnace in the middle. Forges have 2 modes. These modes depend on bellows, which we'll get to shortly. The first mode is a heating mode. Heating mode only reheats cold metal, for example, any ingot or any metallic resource you put in here with coal will make it hot. The other mode is alloying mode, which basically allows you to put different resources in these slots here to create different types of metals. Onto the bellows. Basically, what they do is speed up the process. So every time you do this, it slowly speeds up the process of either heating or smelting. However, to get to alloying mode, you are required to have 2 bellows on each side, specifically on these little vent-like textures right here. It will not work from back to front. To craft bellows, you need to follow this formula. As you can see, 3 wood planks arranged like an arrow facing to the left, 2 leather, 2 sticks, and a tin ingot. Tin is a common resource in Middle-earth and can be found in pretty much every biome. You can mine it with a stone pickaxe or better, and you'll be needing quite a lot of it for the rest of the smithing. It is very useful, so do not ignore it if you see it while you're mining. The next thing you might want to craft early on, though you can leave it for later, is an artisan table, which can be crafted with 2 logs of any kind of wood, with 2 cobblestone on the side and a tin ingot in the middle. The artisan table allows you to craft Middle-earth's tools and weapons. As you can see here, it's a very unique crafting method, where you have to arrange the different parts of what you want to craft. For example, for a sword, you need the handle, a hilt, and the blade. And this changes for everything that you'd like to craft. You can craft tools, armors, shields, and miscellaneous items such as hats, capes, and pipe. Now, an important note is that iron in the Middle-earth mod is not as easy to find as in the overworld. However, you will be needing a bucket and a cauldron. So these recipes have now been changed from iron to tin, as you can see. The cauldron, I will note, needs a tin block in the bottom middle, not another tin ingot. The cauldron will be needed to cool down the blazing metal, because after every time you heat metal up, or for forging, it will be hot and you need to cool it down. At least in future updates. I will note that in this current update, you do not need to cool down the metal before crafting your wanted weapon or tool. But I have a feeling that that will be patched in future updates, so for your knowledge, keep that in mind. Now since we've passed all that, we can get into the actual progression, which is bronze. Bronze is your first alloy that you need to make in order to progress. To To make bronze, you need copper and tin. It does not have to necessarily be raw copper or raw tin, but for the purposes of this video I've decided to go like this. To make bronze, you need your forge and alloying mold, i.e. 2 bellows at the vents, and place your copper like this, into 3, and then place the raw tin. You know it's working by the fact that the fire keeps replenishing and that the arrow is filling up. Now I will actually make some to show you some interesting details that will come into play later on. And as you can see, using the bellows slowly speeds up the process. Now, it doesn't exactly give you an ingot straight out. What it gives you is liquid bronze, which currently holds 4 ingots. What that means is you can use that to make any of these. This being a nugget, an ingot, a rod, and a large rod, which as you can see when you hover over will tell you basically the requirement compared to this. So a large rod will need 3 ingots, which will take up most of this, for example, leaving us with only 1 ingot, which can make either a nugget or a ingot. And as you can see, they're blazing hot. Now, these different types of metal parts will come into play later. Obviously, we'll get there when we get there. Now, after making 3 bronze ingots, you can now actually make a bronze pickaxe. A bronze pickaxe will be required to mine iron, and just anything in that layer where iron can be found, which I will also get to in a minute. An alternative to bronze is crude metal, which is basically a evil alternative to bronze. All that requires is 2 bronze, 2 copper, 1 tin, and ash. Ash is a resource that can be found in, I believe, random structures. I will put an editor note over this when I get more information on it. Currently I'm not exactly sure how to get bronze ash if you can make it yourself, but you can find it in random structures. And yeah, basically crude metal is the evil equivalent of bronze. It has the same mining level and durability and so on and so forth. Now, for iron. Iron in Middle Earth can be found below the deep slate layer, in what the mod calls Nergon layer, which is a type of stone. It can only be mined with bronze or higher. So keep that in mind, that you will not be able to mine iron before you reach bronze. Now, after finding iron, which might take a while, but do not give up, it is there, you can make the other alloys in the mod. Steel for human smithing, so any human faction such as Gondor or Rohan. To make it, you need to arrange your resources in this order. 3 iron, does not matter if it's raw, and 1 coal will get you steel ingot. Ethel steel, or Ethel, not sure how to pronounce it, for elvish smithing, which will need 3 iron, and 1 silver nugget. It does have to be a nugget as far as I'm aware. Khazad steel for dwarvish smithing, which requires 2 iron, 1 lead, which is a slightly uncommon metal that can be found in the deep slate layer, though it does kind of camouflage itself with the deep slate, so do look out for it. And 1 coal. In that order will give you Khazad steel. And Burzum steel for orc smithing, which requires 2 iron, 1 lead, and 1 ash. Any good faction can make these 3, so the good faction steels can all be made by, for example, if you're an elf, you can make normal steel or Khazad steel, but if you cannot make orc steel, and same goes for orcs who cannot make any of those. Anyways, I'll just give you an example of how to make steel. Put your iron, free iron, in like that with your coal. And as you can see, you can tell it's working by the fact that the arrow is filling up. And as you can see, you can make your set of nugget, ingot, rod, large rod. Now, after making steel, you can finally get into the anvils. The Middle Earth mod reuses different anvils from vanilla Minecraft for the smithing process. These come in the 4 different types of steel that you can make, and you do have to use the different ones for the different steel. So if you want to use, for example, ethyl steel, you have to forge it on a ethyl anvil. Otherwise, it will not work on any of the other ones. To make an anvil, the recipe is the same all around, apart from the change of steel. But I have included all recipes here for you to view, for just in case. But the recipe goes as follows: three, three logs of any kind of wood at the bottom, 3 ingots of the steel you're using as an arrow facing down, and 1 block of the steel you're using at the top middle slot, which will get you your anvils. Along with the anvils, you will need a hammer. Now, hammers come in different types, starting from copper to mithril, and also the faction steels, race steels. And basically, all that changes really is durability. It does not forge faster as of now, as of this update, but you can make it with 2 sticks and 2 of the metal you're using at the side, on the side of the middle stick. And this is for steel smithing hammer. And then you can make a special type of hammer called a noble smithing hammer, which comes for all factions. And the only difference is that instead of the stick in the middle, you use a golden rod, which I will show you how to make in a moment. Well, precisely in this moment, because now, after going through all that, I will give you now an example of how to smith. So first we start by getting our resources for our smelting. I'll be using regular steel for now. Apologies for the stuttering. I'll make some more just to be safe. And we will specifically be making a Gondorian longsword. Noble longsword, actually. I'll show you how that looks like when we get there. You need a large rod. Oh, before I do actually need to make all of these to show you their differences. Now I'll be showing you differences between these 3 elements here. An ingot makes a sword hilt, a shield border, and a short blade, also a shovel head. While a rod makes a blade, a hoe head, armor plate, and an armor plate, basically. While a large rod makes an axe head, a helmet plate, and a long blade, as well as a pickaxe head, and a shield plate. So you will be needing to make different types of these 3 for whatever you're making. For now we're making a longsword, so we'll be needing the large rod. I also will preface that you cannot smith in creative, so I'll get myself a hammer and we will change over to survival. So if this does not work in creative, do not worry, it is just that you need to be in survival for this to work. To start your forging, all you need to do is left click whilst aiming at the item. And as you can see, that will make a spark projectiles fly out from the item and a noise. Fun fact about the noise is that the higher pitch it goes, it tells you that the how ready the item is. So it basically shows you the progress that you're making on making the item. Though unfortunately I'm making a axe head, which is not what I want to make. So pardon me while I get another large rod. Apologies for that. Anyways, we are back with our blazing hot large rod. By the way, I will note it does have to be blazing hot for you to forge. You will not work if it's cold. And as before, all you need to do is just left click whilst aiming at the item, and it will slowly rise in pitch from the sound, and it will slowly progress into what you're making. And as you can see, eventually it will cool down. This is the point where you have to reheat it, which is why we have the heating mode on the forge. I also forgot to mention that on the alloying mode for the alloying forge, you can tell when you have ready metal liquid by the fact that there will be an ingot on the top area here. Anyways, our large rod is blazing hot again, so we can continue our project. For the large rod, you will need to reheat it 2 times. For other smaller types of metal parts, and also for I also think it depends on what you're actually making. It will result in different times for heating, basically. How many times you have to heat it. And we have our long blade. Let's cut it off, as you can see. However, for a noble longsword, we will be needing a hilt that is not from steel. We'll be needing a golden hilt. This is a perfect time to show you on how you can basically make different metals into the objects into the parts for the sword, so you're not confused. Let's just remove all the steel from there. Grab our gold. For gold, which is the metal that you'd be mostly using that isn't any of the steels, you just have to fill the thing up like this. It will not work if one of them is removed, I'm pretty sure. Actually, no, it does not. It does. Pardon me. Last time I tried to do this, it didn't work, but you just fill with gold, you fill the floor with gold, and do what we normally do. And as you can see, our gold is ready. Now, the texture is iron, but do not let this fool you. This will be gold. And for this project, for the Gondorian Noble Longsword, we will be needing a hilt, and so we'll need an ingot. Place your ingot, and let's choose our hilt, sword hilt. And heat it. This bar on the side will tell you how much how much more you need to do to heat up the metal. And we have our golden hilt, as you can see. Now, all we need to do is grab a stick, go to the artisan table, and arrange our sword. And there we are. We can now make a Gondorian noble longsword. Well, that's it for today's video, guys. I hope it helps you in your smithing, because it is quite a difficult task, especially for beginners. But hopefully I've helped you. I am sorry for stuttering and messing up my words sometimes. And I'll probably be seeing you in another tutorial video when any more updates drop, or if any more difficult tasks come up in the mod. For now, I hope you enjoy the Middle-earth mod, and that's it from me. Peace out.